Hello teachers, my name is Teacher Stephanie from teachingstephanie.com, and in this video we are going to be talking about setting up your online classroom. In this video we are going to be talking about how I set up my home office / online classroom and what I've learned over the past 3 years to make it the best that it can be. In this video I will show you the basic supplies that you need, some of my favorite products, and then how to set up your supplies in the best way you can. Let's get to it. Now, like I said, today we are talking about setting up your online teaching classroom in your home. I am an online teacher for 2 companies, VIPKID and Outschool. I will leave my application links below in case you want to apply, check those out, and become a teacher like me. I will also leave my Outschool playlist and VIPKID playlist so that you can see how much you make, what these companies are about, what you do with each company, and some application tips and tricks. This channel is all about finding the fun in online teaching, and I would love to be your coach and help you find the fun in your online classroom journey. Now, on to the main idea, which is setting up your classroom. Number 1, the basics. The basic supplies that you need to succeed in the online teaching world. With most online teaching companies, you're going to need 4 basic things. You're going to need a streaming device, good internet, webcam, and lighting. Now, let's talk about your streaming device. This can be a laptop, it can be a tablet like an iPad. That is what you're going to be doing your lessons off of, the device that you're using. Now, there are pros and cons to each one. Some people love the tablet because it's compact, it's small, and it's easier to draw on the screen and get to those places. Personally, I like the laptop. I like the bigger screen. I must be getting old because I need to see all of the things. I use a 13-inch MacBook Air for my lessons and it has been fabulous. I totally recommend that. By the way, I will be leaving all of my recommendation links below in the video description box. So if you want to check anything out, if you want to go to purchase, I will leave all the links below so that you can see exactly what I use and what I recommend for your online classroom. Now, the next necessity for your online classroom is good internet. You won't be able to stream your lessons and upload the content back from the students if you do not have good internet. An easy way to check your internet speed is just by Googling internet speed tests. It will pop up and let you run a test for how fast your internet is going. Most companies recommend that you have 3 megabytes uploading and downloading speed or faster so that you can have an effective classroom experience with your students. Now, internet speed can change throughout the day depending on how many users are on your channel in your area. So if there's a lot of people, they're sucking all the juice and you may have internet slowdown speed. So it's a good idea to make sure that during the time of your class, your internet speeds are looking good. You have enough to do your class. And I would also recommend a backup internet source. So what I do is use my phone's hotspot. I always have it there, have it handy, just in case I need to hop onto the hotspot because my internet is not good. The best way to get the best speed in your home is to be near the router and or use an Ethernet cable so that it's directly plugged into your streaming device. The Ethernet cable will go right from the modem to your streaming device and you'll get the fastest speed possible from the service you have. Now let's talk about the webcam. A lot of the streaming devices that you will use will have a built-in webcam. Your phone has one, your tablet should have one, and my laptop has one built in. You might decide to upgrade this as you go because it might not be the best quality or you might want different views for your classroom experience. When I was first teaching, I was using this laptop over here, which was a little older, and the webcam that it had was very poor quality and half of the screen was blurry and dark, the other half was good. So I'd be standing over here and the kids would be wondering, why aren't you in the middle of the screen? I'm like, see, it's blurry. So I had to buy an external webcam, which was great. This is the Logitech HD 1080p. I got it right off Amazon. Again, I'll leave the link below, but this has worked great. I've used it with this Dell laptop and also my MacBook, and it's worked perfectly. It gives a great picture quality, and the students are able to see me crystal clear. Now let's talk about good lighting. So I use every day a ring light in my classroom. Let me bring this one over. I use this ring light here that I will link below. It's also got my mic on it, so sorry if I'm super loud right now. I also turn on my house lights, and that has worked great for me. When I was just starting out teaching, I was teaching in an unfinished basement, which mean I didn't have any house lights. So the ring light definitely helped, but I also had to use some garage spotlights to make sure that my classroom was well lit and my face was well lit, the students could see me okay. You want to avoid any shadows, such as these right here. The way that my camera is angled, I'm getting shadows, but that's something we want to avoid. So you can see right here, I've got some shadows. So here is my imperfect example of what not to do with shadowing on the face. Another idea for lighting that online teachers love is the softbox, commonly used by photographers to avoid glare and really soften that light on the face. These can be a little bit pricey, but I'm sure you can find a great option online. You just will have to search around. I personally don't use those, so I don't have a recommendation for this, but I know that you can definitely find them online. If you're looking for something on the cheaper end, you can definitely just go buy a lamp and get an LED light bulb for the best light possible. Some other lighting tips here are to not stand in front of a window because the light from the background of the window will overshadow you and you will be completely dark. If you can, teach in front of natural light because that's going to be the best way to light up your face, light up the classroom, and soften that picture on the screen. Now, before I move on to point number 2, I want to point out that most of this information can be found in my online Outschool teacher guide. I will place a link for it here. I would love it if you download that guide. It will take you in Outschool from applying to successfully teaching your first class and beyond. It goes over how to set up your classroom, some Zoom tips and tricks, and pricing and scheduling your class. It will be an invaluable resource, and I would love it if you use my link below to download the guide and help you on your way with teaching with Outschool. Now, point number 2. These are definitely not necessities in the online classroom, but these are products that I actually use and really love over the years that I've taught online. Okay, and number 1 is a good headset with a mic. You want to make sure that you can hear the students and that they can hear you clearly. I wouldn't suggest just using your streaming device because it can be a little bit more difficult to hear you on that, and it's also more difficult to hear them without turning up that volume to the highest level it can go to. So definitely invest in some headphones with a mic. Now, as you can see, mine are well loved. I purchased these right after I got hired about 3 years ago, and I used them pretty much every day up until I got a new set of headphones, which are the Apple AirPods. I loved these headphones. I will link them below. They're a great affordable option that obviously I've used and loved for years. They still work great. They work great with my MacBook and with my Dell. They were fantastic and I really loved them. Now the AirPods work great as well. They do hurt after a long time of teaching, but I haven't had it be that long, so I haven't had to worry too much about that. The other thing I worried about with these is the microphone, but the kids say they can hear me great through these little microphones, so I have actually been using these more and more in my online classes, but I still have that as a backup just in case these aren't charged or they're not working. Now another thing you'll want to do is have a background. The kids are going to be looking at you and need to be engaged in what you're saying. That doesn't mean that you're always going to be the most entertaining thing on their screen. They're used to all these video games, TV shows that are loud and exciting and entertaining, so you are going to have to be a little bit more interesting to look at as you're delivering your content. Now that means having great things to teach that are fun and engaging, but also making your classroom fun and engaging. Now, my background is something that I painted permanently on the wall because this is my style, this is what I wanted for my home office, but you can definitely invest in something that's a little bit more temporary. I would definitely suggest my friend Nancy Taylor's background maps. She has these beautiful vinyl maps that I will put here. I'm actually using them as decor in my kids' room because they loved them so much. So that tells you kids love them. They love to see where their countries are at. They love to see the little animals and landmarks that are pointed on there. It is a great option if you're looking for something a little bit more temporary to use as your classroom backdrop. Another idea I might suggest is a shower curtain. I used a shower curtain for a long time because I was in an unfinished basement. I needed something I could just pin up, and I definitely loved using the shower curtain because it could move with me as we were finishing the basement and I was teaching in different spots of the house. So I could put it up behind me in our closet, I could use it in the cold storage room, I could use it in the dining room, wherever I needed to be. I could just quickly hurry and put up the shower curtain behind me and the kids would think, oh, she's just in her classroom. It worked really well, and that's something I definitely suggest for college students that are applying because you will be moving dorms, you might be going back home. Shower curtains are definitely the best, most affordable option. Some other ideas are a whiteboard that you can put magnets on, you can draw, you can display things on the screen. It is a great idea to have something like that you can quickly switch up. And then the last one I want to mention, something that I don't do very often, is a virtual background. Now, I hardly ever do these, but I do like to switch up my background for holidays. So I have a virtual background that I just quickly change into. that I use in Zoom for holidays, such as Christmas coming up. I changed that in my Zoom settings under preferences and virtual background. All of a sudden, I'm decorated for Christmas. I didn't have to do anything. So virtual backgrounds are fantastic too, and you can easily create those in Canva or using Manicam. Another thing you might want to invest in and think about for your online classroom are some reward systems for your students. Now, with Outschool, you don't need these so much. They're not a requirement for your class, but they definitely keep the students engaged as they work together in a group, a class, to work towards a common goal. With VIPKID, these are required with each class. So think of a few ideas that you can have, and then I would just keep those handy. I would keep doing them. Some teachers like to change them up to keep adding to. I'm more on the minimalist side in that I have a few, I stick with those, and those are what I've used for years. Now, my favorite reward that I definitely use the most often is the Stars to Apples app. I love it because it provides both of those types of rewards right on my phone. I just hold my phone up to the screen, show them what I'm doing, and I can easily access that. Again, I always have a backup, so I have the actual physical reward systems in my drawers waiting in case my phone isn't working, in case the app isn't downloaded, whatever it needs to be. I do have backup rewards for the students where they can quickly find a star. We can do tic-tac-toe, and the easiest one is pick a hand, any hand. They pick one, and they either get the reward or they don't. Super easy. Another thing you might be thinking is props. Now, this again is more for VIPKID, but I have used props with Outschool as well. I've used a whiteboard and markers the most with both of those companies because a whiteboard and markers can be anything. If you need to draw an apple so your student understands what you're talking about, you can quickly draw an apple. If I need to do a multiplication problem for my Outschool students, I can draw it right on the whiteboard right in front of them. Again, I'm more of a minimalist teacher here. I don't like to have a lot of props cluttering up my classroom. Most of my props that I found for my online classroom were found at the dollar store. They were great. Again, the Stars to Apples app has a lot of clip art downloaded to it that you can use for props as well, to hold up to the screen, easily find it and go, here, this is an apple. Super easy and something that I totally love, being a little bit of a minimalist in my classroom. Now, maybe you are in the application process for either of these companies and you're watching this video to set up your classroom as you wait and hear back from the company if you are hired or you are denied. Now, I want to offer a service to you that I help teachers with. I help coach teachers through the application process with both companies. I look through their application and we discuss ways that they can improve their application, their videos, anything that they're putting on there, and we do a little bit of coaching and consulting on the best practices with online teaching. If you need some help, you need somebody to ask questions to, I would love for you to schedule a consultation call with me by clicking the link below in the description box, and we can get it scheduled. We'll get you through and you will go on to online teaching. Now, our last point, which is setting up those supplies that I talked about in your online classroom. Now, the first thing you need to consider is where you're going to teach. Where is your classroom going to be? It needs to be quiet. It needs to have light or have access to light. It needs to be in reach of the internet. Now, a few ideas and places that I have personally taught because it just worked best for our family in our home. I've taught in our bedroom closet, I have taught in our storage room, I've taught in the unfinished basement, and now I have my own home office that I get to teach in. Now, the second thing you need to do when you start setting up is figuring out where you need to put your desk for your streaming device and all your props. So I would recommend putting this about 3 feet from the wall so that you can still see your background if you're not doing a virtual background. If you're doing a virtual background, then it won't matter the spacing on where you put your desk, but if it's about 3 feet or less, you're going to be able to still reach the online background if you're using it for props. You'll also be able to see it on camera. Now that your desk is set up, I want you to set up your streaming device with the webcam and turn it on when you're setting everything else up. That way you can check that everything's in the frame, you can make sure the lighting's good, you can check everything as you're going to make sure that it looks good before you have it all set up and realize, oh no, that's not even in the screen, or you can't even see my face because of this lighting. So that's the next thing I would do, is set up your streaming device, turn on the webcam. And as you're doing that, make sure you have a place to plug in your device so that in case you're low on battery, you need to quickly plug it in, you have a place to plug it in. Extension cords might be your best friend here. Like when I was teaching in the unfinished basement, I had a huge 100-foot long extension cord from the one power source in the basement all the way to my classroom so that I could plug in my laptop just in case it ran out of battery. You're also going to want to make sure that you plug in your Ethernet cable so that the internet speed is fantastic. It is optimized the best it can be. Now, plug in your lighting. make sure that your angles to the window are good and that your external lighting is looking good as well. We don't want any shadows on the face. Now here's a pro tip. If you do 2 lamps, make sure they're coming from 2 different directions and 2 different lengths so that you're getting a diffused light, 2 different parts of your face, and you're not getting just one giant spotlight on your face. Now you can set up your background, you see what's in the frame, and you know where to hang everything, whether that's the map, the shower curtain, your whiteboard with all your different props to change out. Now's a great time to check out your background and make sure it's good on camera, good with lighting, no glares. Okay, and now for all the other stuff. You want to make sure that your headset, props, rewards are within arm's reach, but out of the camera frame so that your classroom doesn't look cluttered. It just looks engaging, fun, and organized. I like to use little boxes that go inside my drawers underneath the desk so that I can use that. I've also used a bookcase off to the side of the frame and had it open shelving so that I could easily grab things and see the things that I needed to grab without showing all of the crazy mess of my classroom. Okay, to recap, you are going to need good lighting, a streaming device, good internet, and a webcam. Some of the things you may want to invest in later are a headset, some props, and rewards, and definitely think about your background. Then go ahead and set it up in a way that is fun and functional. Again, I will leave all of my recommendations in the link in the video description box. If you want to check out what I use and recommend and love, you can go ahead and look there by clicking the little arrow and the drop-down menu to see all of my links. Now, if you found this video helpful, you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. That is a great way to support content creators, is by liking their videos, plus it's free. But I want you to stay tuned for next week's video, which is going to be a Zoom quick guide. If you're becoming an Outschool teacher and you've never used Zoom before, this is going to be a great video explaining the ins and outs on setting up your Zoom for your online classroom. Now, make sure you hit the bell to subscribe to my channel and you'll be notified when that video is uploaded and ready for you to watch. Do you have any questions? Did you like my classroom? Please leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. And if you ever have any questions about applying, please email me at teachingstephanieo@gmail.com. Now, if you want to learn more about finding the fun in online teaching, check out these videos on the screen. As my hero Mr. Rogers says, let's make the most of this beautiful day. Goodbye.